Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we talked about what is child sexual abuse. We talked about the effect of the CSA. We talked about how they can protect. We took some case studies. Now, how about us parents? Don't we have a role in this? How can a child protect themselves unless we parents do something about it? So we do have a huge role in protecting our children. And this is what we'll be talking about. For me to be a good parent, I need to have a good relationship with my God. So we talk about the relationship with God, about my relationship with my children, to teaching my children values like self-respect, self-control, and assertiveness. Talk again about healthy body boundaries, practice what-if game for younger kids, and what would you do for older children. So for me to be a good parent and to prepare, good parents means what? To spoil them, to provide food for them, to provide the house for them, to get them to live in a nice, fancy place. That's not enough. Good parents is how I connect. How I connect need a lot of work from me as parents to prepare myself, to learn some strategies, to know my weaknesses, to understand my flaws. And in order for me to have all that, I need to have connection with my God. I need to have a relationship with my God. So my relationship with God, does that mean, do I put time and have a conversation with my God? Do I talk with God? Or do I just recite Our Father who art in heaven, or some hymns here, some verses here, and recite them? Do I have a talk and conversation back and forth with my God? How do I show my respect to the church and specifically to priesthood? And when I say church and priesthood, let me pause here, because as a parent, if sometimes children behave well, to have fun, child behavior, and for parents, it's like misbehaving. And they would tell the child, if you don't stop, I'm going to go tell Abuna. How does this affect the child? It actually has double effect on the child and on Abuna too. So what do I mean by that? The child will fear Abuna, and they will hate to go to Abuna. Does that make sense? Because you're threatening the child with that, which has to be the opposite. Respect and love. Yeah. Number 3, or the third point, do I have an awakened conscience of my wrongdoing? Do I know my flaws? Do I know my weaknesses? And awakened conscience to admit them, to know and work on them to improve myself. Do I have that? My relationship with people at church. Do I respect them? Do I care about them? Do I forget them? Am I a helpful person? Am I setting the good example for my children? So first, to be a good parent, I have to have a good relationship with my God, with the Lord, to have that awakened conscience, to do the right thing. And that will help me to be a loving parent. Okay, so my relationship with my children, I need to practice positive parenting, and that's a big issue by itself. Style of parenting, and there are lots of books on that and lots of workshops, and in another case, another occasion, we can talk about positive parenting. When my parenting is positive, not harmful, not cruel, not to revenge, not violent, then I will be able to connect with my child. And once I connect with my child, they will respect me, and they will come to me to tell me about everything. I will have that line of communication open to listen to them with love and understanding, to emphasize with them, to get them up, feel that I'm approachable and that I respect what they say, that they are loved, they are heard, and so on. That's positive communication. Let them know that you are interested. I am interested to hear what you're saying. That means, how can I show that I'm interested to hear what they are saying? A child comes from school, for example, and say, Mom, Dad, guess what I had today? Okay, I'll talk to you later. I'm just busy finishing cooking this. That's not showing interest. So I have to drop whatever I have, whatever I'm doing, and listen to them. Oh, and if something urgent that I'm doing, okay, can you give me a minute? I am really excited to hear what you want to tell, what happened. And then I ask them and I probe more and tell me more and let's sit down. I can't wait to hear. Look for teachable moment. And teachable moment here does not mean when you give them a ride to school or to any sport, you give them a lesson and a lecture. No, no, no. That's a very harsh punishment for them. They're not gonna like to be with you in a car. Teachable moment, if you read the Bible, if you read any story, if you are sitting together as a family, take the opportunity and the chance with any teaching, reading the Bible, for example. So what do we learn from this? What happened? Can you visualize if you are or you were in that situation? What would you do? Imagine this happened that time. And so you talk and converse with them about that. This is a teachable moment. Yeah. Now talk openly about body safety from early age, as we said before. And this is taken in CSAT. Doesn't mean that we don't take it and repeat it and remind them over and over. And start talking before anything happens, before it's too late and we regret. And explain that sexual abusers control them step by step, not right away. Like that maybe answer your question too, Suhair. Step by step, and they watch for them. They watch their victim. You see, little by little, and they start tempting them. They start following them. They start kind of monitoring them, and they become like secret behind them. They crawl under the skin. Support them developing interpersonal skills like communication, decision making, negotiation, talking and conversing. Leadership is huge for children, especially youth. There are programs for children young up to 10 and 12, and the youth up to 18. Leadership, teach them a lot of interpersonal skills. Also, respect. Teach them respect and self-control. And this is what we talked and kept on talking about with the CSAT, Christian Sexual Education. We need to teach them assertiveness. Don't be shy. Like this case of Rihanna sitting on her uncle's lap, so shy and so passive, sitting there, afraid of something, but she feels annoyed and her body's talking, being annoyed, but she was not assertive. So it's very important to teach them, and it's okay to be assertive and say, I don't like this. Self-defense, and if it doesn't feel right, it probably is not. Probably is not. And if they feel uncomfortable, or confused, or dislike the way someone approaches them or touches them, tell them to get away as soon as possible. If you don't feel comfortable, what's the best thing will happen? What's the worst things that could happen? They'll run away anyways. Right? Yeah. So let's practice together, forcefully saying, I don't like that. Let's say it together.
I don't
like
that.
1, 2, 3. I don't like that. Or stop touching me. They have to be serious about it. Stop touching me. And you have to practice that with your little ones, whether you are parents or grandparents. I do that with my grandchildren. And they well aware of it. Well aware of it. Yeah. Let them know to tell you right away. Don't be shy about it. Don't wait. Don't struggle of telling you. And this will only happen when I'm approachable, when I'm open with them, when I have a good relationship with my children, when I'm connected with my children, when I'm always there for them, showing them that I care, so they will come right away to me. If I'm not there, talk to another adult, and two, not just one, because we don't know. Or they have the right to call 911, and they will not get in trouble. The police will come and they will investigate. They will ask some questions. It's better to be safe than sorry. It's better to be safe than sorry. Yeah. Teach them to be assertive and that they will not get in trouble. Because most children and most the cases, the adult people that I deal with, age 35, 40, even 50, they said, I was afraid because I don't know. My mom used to tell me, you go to your room, why did you go there? And every time I go to complain about what's happening, she doesn't listen to me, or dad doesn't listen to me. They always scold me and push me away. Yeah, so they get them in trouble. So do you think the child will keep on saying and saying? No, they will keep on tolerating the pain, tolerating the abuse over and over and over. And the abusers know when to get that child. Know, especially when they are family or neighbors and so on. And assure them that you can handle what they tell you. Don't say, oh my God, this is horrible. I can handle that. Don't worry. So we need to give them the comfort and the support. I can handle that. We're here for you. We will always have to listen. We will listen to you. And it's never their fault. Never their fault. We need to keep on repeating this. It's not their fault. Because I have adults that feeling really worthless because it is their fault when it is not. As a child, how can a child, be mistaken or wrong being abused? Okay. Child also needs to know that no one has the right to touch them. Mom and dad, or mom can bathe you and can clean you. And sometimes the doctor has to examine you, but your mom will be there. See? And if it's uncomfortable, say so. If it's uncomfortable, say, that hurts, don't touch me immediately. Even if it is not wrong, the child has to be assertive. Yeah, we have to give them that luxury. No secret touch. And that's the good and bad touch. No secret touch. Secret comes from the word, from the abuser, always said, this is secret between you and me, because I have a toy for you. I have a surprise for you next time. If you tell anybody, I'm not going to give you that secret toy. You see what I mean? The surprise. Yeah. So child is not allowed to touch someone else's body. That shows respect. Teach the child the names of their body part. Again, teach the child the importance of keeping his body part private. We talked about that in Christian sexual education, that your body is the temple of God, and we talked a lot about that. Be available and approachable.
أيوة.
I don't know how to put your mic down.
حطيها جنبها.
Sorry. Be available and approachable. Listen to them. Listen to them. Drop everything and listen to them. You know, when we are busy and we show them that they are heard and we are listening to them, we teach them a lot of respect, because they will do the same. They will model that behavior. And let them know that they will not get into any trouble talking about any intruder or any abuser. Now, let's play that what if game. This is a game you play with the young children in a family setting, end of the week or weekend, in a family gathering, have a habit and develop a routine on a daily basis to have that hour before they go to bed for praying, for checking on the day and what happened. End of the week, have that family time. We used to do that with the children. That's personal experience, not just psychology, but end of the week, that's a family time. We drop everything. We don't even answer the telephone. The prayer, hymns, tasbihat, reading the Bible, some cardboard games, of course, Uncle Sammy with his communication and all the soft tools. So all those are important to equip the child with. They grew up with this. They grew up with this. You will see a lot of benefit and a lot of understanding and a lot of maturity in them. Okay, so this is, for example, a what if game. So you're sitting there, the family time, and you play. What if someone touches you and tells you this is our secret? You see, and so on. What if, for young children, some people when teaching the CSAT said, oh, you're threatening the child that this will happen to them. It's not with threatening. It's how we say it to the child, how we explain it to the child. What if this happened? So tell me what will happen. Also, and so is saying that, how about you? What this happened? What if this happened? What about you? And so on. Make it a game. So the child won't be frightened or threatened or teaching them the wrong thing. That's no comments about it. What if a grown-up, even someone you know, gives you, that opens their mind on how to think and what to realize. A grown-up, even someone you know, gives you a big hug and a kiss, touches you and make you feel uncomfortable. Oh no, I have to do such and such and such. Oh no, I have to, okay, can you yell? Can you say, stop touching me? Can you run away? Yeah. Okay, what if they offer you something you really want for a long time, for example, just to keep the touching a secret? Would you do it? Well, then what do you need to do? And so on. So you discuss that with them. What if they tell you or threaten you, they will hurt the person if you tell them. If you tell your mom, I'm going to hurt your mom. If you tell your dad, I'm going to hurt you. That's a threat. Don't worry about that. Go tell your mom. Go, you see what I mean? Come and tell us. Or don't worry about that. We'll take care of that. Yeah. Because lots of things that children, the abused children hear from their perpetrator, from their abuser to threaten them because they are innocent and they play with their feelings. Feelings. There is no mind to play with here. Feelings. If they had the mind to think, they would think. And this is our role, to bring the feelings into thinking and understanding. Okay. Now, with older kids, you play the, what would you do to help yourself and a friend in such and such situations? And we teach them to call the police and be assertive. Okay. Here are some key statements for parents to remember, to tell the children. It is not your fault. We will take care of that. We can handle what you tell us. You will be okay because we will always be here to support you and listen to you. You mean a lot and we care about you and we're here to protect you and keep you safe. Okay. Is there any question on that?
Maybe Pierre left and I'm going to take over, and Abuna Johanna has a question. The question says here, you spoke about the preventive actions. What about the corrective action to be taken in terms of the relationship between the parent and the child? I guess if the child has been abused and now he grows up, and is that correct, Abuna? Maybe.
Can you explain what do you mean corrective action?
Maybe you would ask Abuna Johanna
Yes. Yeah. Yes, yes, Dr. Sami. This is what I ask. I mean by corrective action. What after the action being done? What should the parents do to the children or to the child that he is subject to this abuse? What should they do? What is the action? What is the psychological action? What are the healings that we should go through? Whatever, how they should deal with such a situation?
Of course.
Can I just interject? Maybe like I'm just asking clarifying question, Abuna. Like, are you talking about the child now that something happened, or 15, 20 years from now?
Yeah, when he
no, I'm speaking about the short-term actions and the long-term actions.
Okay, so please, Mary, answer those questions.
Of course. And
thank you so much, Dr. Sam.
Thank you for mentioning this, Otsabuna, Yohanna.
Thank you so much, Tante Mary.
No problem. Children's at a young age, when of course parents are cognizant and aware and protective and understand that this is harmful and this is considered a trauma for the children, they need to go for counseling immediately. And in counseling, we provide and we perform lots of types of children counseling. One of them is play therapy and cognitive therapy and psycho, and lots of counseling. Yeah, they need to go for counseling, period. Even if they go for counseling when they are children, some triggers can happen growing up, because the mentality of receiving and understanding the counseling when they were little is to heal and not to be anxious and not to have some nightmares and to feel safe and so on. However, it doesn't mean that will disappear. Might come again with any trigger. So they need to continue the counseling until they really heal. And some abused children can face their abusers with full force. That's because of the continuing counseling. Did I answer your question, Otsabuna? Otsabuna, Yohanna?
Aywa, Tante Mary.
Did I answer your questions?
Yes, please. Thank you so much. This is a great answer. Thank you so much.
Yeah, very important. We cannot leave them كده ولا assure them our help, our support, our love, and so on. No, they need, thank you. They need to go for counseling. They have to, they must. They must.
Okay, beside our love and our understanding to them, we should also go for counseling with them.
Very important.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tante Mary. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Not a problem. So let's shift now to our service providers. This is protection for service providers against allegation of child sexual abuse. Because, well, whether at school, as at church, or other, dealing with children, interacting with children, and a variety of issues and cases, we need to be aware, we need to take precautions, we need to have prevention. And I like to start with this nice...
Fine, I can take in a bowl or anything.
I like to start with this nice song. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, you preserve my life. This is, I'm talking with God, of course. You stretch out your hand against the wrath of my enemies, and your right hand delivers me. That's Psalm 138, verse 7. So what I get from this is that Lord is my shepherd. I rely on God. I ask him to be with me, to deliver me from any evil, to protect me, and so on. Okay. Now, who is involved in any organization or a church or any function? There are teachers, volunteers, and other service providers. So this is what they need to be aware of and practice. Never solo, never to be alone, never to be by yourself with a group of children. Why? You need two people And other than those two people, two teachers, there has to be a supervisor to know what those two people are doing. Because one gets in trouble or a child gets in trouble, so one teacher stays with the student, that the other has to go get help. Now, this is one thing. The other thing, the other teacher is a witness. You see, so never be alone. Witness for good or bad, God forbid. Yeah. The student recognize every move that children do and what they say. Very important. Use security cameras in the building. Use of intercom in the room, just like classes in schools. This is very important. The other thing, no one-on-one isolated meetings. No one-on-one at all. Isolated meetings. If you have to stay one-on-one, you have to be in an open place. And very important to listen, to support, to comfort the person, and also report, then investigate more. You report, this is very important, and immediately when you investigate, and then if there is a further report, you can do that. This is for teachers and volunteers and any other service providers that interact with children. In case of conferences and field trips, trips have policies, especially when you are in a field out of the church or of the site. There are rules about transportation. There are rules about going to the washroom and who will supervise them. You see what I mean? Stuff like that. Policies to have in mind and to develop and to practice when you go on field trips. Signed contract with both parents and the child, that I'll be listening to the rules and regulation. This is what we will follow, and everybody will be clear on what will happen. And of course, again, increased supervision and permission from and informing the caregiver. The caregiver here in this case is the parent. So inform them on step by step what will happen if you're going to a conference or a field trip. Step by step, and keep in touch with the parents to inform them. Not just because the parents need to know, but to cover yourself and to be on the safe side from this issue. The issue of child sexual abuse. Learn about appropriate and inappropriate interaction and behavior. Know how to, we'll get to that. I have a part here that I explained this a bit more. So, and very important to keep in mind that there is zero tolerance to any abuse. Zero tolerance. There is no excuse. We cannot tolerate, we cannot take any risk to any abuse. Zero tolerance. Anything happens, it has to be reported, and it has to be taken seriously. Seriously. With regard to also other service providers, organization, about the priest, the confession, the meeting, baptism, glass doors, and so on. Otsabuna Ruiz, I will ask you to explain this, please.
Yani pertaining confession, as we have learned from our fathers, even since the time of ordination, that confession place is only the church. If it happens to be to discuss any problem, it should be in the office of the priest, in front of the window door, open door. It shouldn't be in any private room, especially when it is with the ladies or whoever, yani, but ladies in particular. Yani. And you notice even in our church that all the rooms in our church has windows and open glass, clear glass window in all our classrooms, and that was actually my request. Many of you did not attend the church when the church was expanding and be renovated, so that was my request since the beginning, to make all the areas with open glass rooms. the meeting, it applies the same in baptism. Many people, to my surprise, they did not know how do we baptize a young lady or a woman. Simply in a baptism of a woman or an adult or a man, we give him or her a tonia or tonic, and this person wears the tonia while the time of the baptism. Then he or she goes into the baptistry, being baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Then we allow him or her to go to a private place like a closed washroom. He or she changes his clothes or her clothes and come back to be anointed with the holy oil of Mayrun. The anointing of the Mayrun, as we learn it from our fathers as well, especially the late His Holiness Pope Shenouda, that we anoint the person in the manifested organs and place, like his head, like her arms, like his neck, like his feet. That's all. We don't anoint the whole body like the children. And the process of baptism goes in in a dignity, and no one feels that he or she being offended or shy from being baptized. I'd like to say that because many people till now are hesitant to ask this question, how I'm gonna be baptized if he or she is an adult.
Okay, thank you so much, Sabuna Ruiz. Okay. Now, so basically what we need to do when we deal with our children or the abused child, we need to listen, we need to support and give them comfort, report the case, and investigate. Now, here is some church action to protect both parties. This is very important. Let's find out how can they protect both parties, the children and ourselves themselves. Now, so what can the church do as an organization to be cautious from any wrong allegation? Develop regular training. Education is number one. Training schedule for new volunteers specifically. And even if some new topics, then we need to train them over and over and over, especially on updating the CSE's child sexual abuse. Training could be twice a year and following up. Number two, individuals require certification of completion. That means they are aware. That means the awareness makes them responsible to take action. Very important to have the certification of completion. Number three, screening, interviewing the volunteer, monitoring behavior, identifying appropriate versus inappropriate, and ensure safe environment, create a code of conduct. I'm gonna explain a little bit more about the screening and the monitor behavior and so on. So let's talk about the screening. What's the goal of screening? Screening, you know what's screening, of course, choosing. So the goal is to select the best possible candidate and screen out individuals who are at risk to abuse people. But how do I know? Yeah, through questionnaires, through monitoring them, through supervising them. So there are some important principles in that. Screening is not the only method or effort to prevent the CSA. It is not the only thing. So we need to define areas of concern. For example, fixation. Again, fixation here means focusing on certain age. The volunteer, oh, I like to work with grade 3. No, my favorite grade is grade such, you know, a specific grade, that specific age. Okay, fine, but it doesn't mean anything yet. Remember, I need more than one symptoms or one sign to tell me if this person is an abuser or risk to abuse. You see, do not make exception for people you know. Screen all applicants, adults and adolescents. Don't say, oh, well, that person is okay. That person is expert. That person, I know that person. Don't favor anybody. Don't favor anybody. Because, well, if we know that person, we don't know their action exactly. And share with them your code of conducts and the organization of the church policies and principle. Very important to share that with them and get them to sign. Require applicants to agree on following the church rules and regulation. Agreeing means they have to sign. Yeah, and have to have certificates that they got trained. Okay, the other thing here, random monitor of their behavior and document that you had monitored them. You see what I mean? What's the goal of that? To prevent and recognize and respond to any inappropriate and harmful behavior and reinforce appropriate behavior. Now, let's say, for example, there is some activity and there are 2 teachers there. So I need to go and monitor what they're doing. I need to go for every door in the classes. All classes doors are halfway glass. I don't just pass by. I need to have big eyes everywhere to look at every child and the teachers where they are standing or what they are doing. See, and when I do that, I have to sign that I had monitored in such time, and this is what's happening, to document it. Those are rules to prevent and to prevent any allegation. This is documented. Okay, more supervision for young volunteers because they may lack judgment. They can be impulsive. They can be harsh on the children. They can start abusing them by pushing them, by scolding them or hitting them on their hands, or although we don't have that in Canada, but you never know. You see, or insult them or mock them and so on. So supervise the young volunteers until you know that they are really well equipped and good to teach. Monitor performance and interaction, like I said. And of course, very important to monitor their inappropriate behavior, like favoring some of the children, giving gift to some children, looking for time alone with some children or with youth. So you have to monitor that and keep that in mind and keep your eyes open and your mind open. Don't say, oh, I like this this young teacher or that young volunteer. They are wonderful with students. They have them, they laugh with them. Hey, hold on here and pause. Think again and monitor randomly. Randomly, that means without time, specific time, without them knowing. Randomly, surprise them. Okay, so, and reinforce appropriate behavior, like encourage them and acknowledge their good work. Now, let's identify appropriate versus inappropriate behavior. Let's say, for example, verbally. Appropriate verbal behavior is to encourage the child. Encourage the child by being specific. Oh, you cleaned the table all by yourself. Or you put the garbage out. That encourages that child. Encouragement, that means be specific on the actions that they did. Praise is general. That's a great job. You see? Reinforce good work and good behavior. This is the appropriate verbal action. Inappropriate and harmful one, sexually provocative or degrading comments. Well, can't you get to the table? Can you get to the desk? Open your legs a little bit. Look at you and look at your bum. Look at your face. So that's degrading. Those are inappropriate words to be said to a child or a youth. And never say risky jokes. especially with youth, they like to joke nowadays, or always been. So be very careful from saying or expressing any inappropriate, dirty jokes with them, because they know a lot about that. Now, physical behavior, what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. The appropriate behavior, when I need to encourage a child, I pat them on the back. Slightly, if you can see me, كده مش touching them, no. It's not abuse, no. كده هو يعني showing some affection. No, I don't want affection. في الحالة دي I don't want any affection. So, good job, very good. On the shoulder, openly in front of everybody, and shortly. Now, inappropriate patting on the butt. Oh, you cute. That's a no. Grabbing and holding hands for a while, that has a lot to do with affection and feelings, and that's inappropriate. Showing porn activities, corporal punishing, pulling their ears, انت ايه ده اللي بتعمل كده, كل ده, all that is inappropriate. Now, let's jump to ensuring a safe environment. How can we ensure safe environment? Let's say, for example, inside a church, inside the building, very important to have an open and visible space. Visible space, especially in rooms where the chairs are all crammed and there is no room for the child to escape. No room to see the children sitting behind the chairs or the desks. So everything has to be visible, open. The other thing too that is very important in any building, to secure any areas that are not used for children, like lockers, closets, storage room, keep them always locked. Always locked. If I have to keep them open, I have to be around that room until I lock it and make sure it's locked, because things can badly and easily happen in those rooms. Glass doors, we talked about that, or halfway window. No closed doors policy, bright lights, especially the areas where very hard to see, like under the stairs and sometimes in some washrooms, lights, stuff like that. Areas when there is poor visibility. Video cameras, we talked about that. And the other thing too, appoint proper supervision for critical closed areas. Also, like say, for example, the building has several entrances and several exits. Provide supervision there. Parking lot as well. There is service or there's running. We don't know what's going on in a parking lot or the backyard, especially in the evening when there are some kind of activities that needs to be kept in mind. Yeah. Okay. Any question in that? Shall we go straight to our next
question, Mary? طيب بالنسبة لموضوع السكرينينج والمونيتورينج, how practical is going to be pertaining the volunteers whom we know for many years, whom we know of as fathers of confession? Did this apply? Because you said you make you make screening for everyone. Yes. So I think practical point of view, that will be a challenge for us as priests because sometimes it may raise some tension. So for me as a priest, I know my daughter, I know my son for many, many years. I know him, I know her in her confession, I know him in his confession as his father of confession. So I don't know how could we apply that because there is another side that many people may hide stuff like that from their father of confession, maybe. Yeah. But how practical can I do that as a leader of the church, a leader of the service, as a priest in any place, in any church?
Yes, a very good question, Sabuna, thank you. But because of what's happening, unfortunately, and what had happened, and who knows, still happening, the rules are rules. And at the end, when we got to be asked or face any authority for any situation, show me who teaches this grade, this grade. Oh, I'm not going to tell the authority, oh, I know this person, I don't know this person. All volunteers, or my children, or the youth that I know them, or I raised, for example, they need to know the rules. Those are the rules. So they will go through gladly through all the questionnaires, and there will be certain.
How I'm going to go to do the screening itself? Is there a questionnaire for that?
Yes, yes. I have those open-ended questionnaire. When it's needed, they are ready.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, yes. Yeah.
Okay. I have two comments, actually. One comment in response to Abuna. I can see Abuna's dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been working with him for 25 years. He knows me and all this stuff. And then Sammy, you need to fill these questionnaires and so on. Maybe a good, not Abuna, a critical issue. If something happened,
Mm-hmm.
the government, and something serious happened, God forbid, and I experienced that 3 times with my work. When a safety issue happened, and they come on me, on my supervisor, on my supervisor, and on management in Ottawa. They sue all 4 levels.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why Mary was saying is you need to enforce the training and give them certificate of completion that you are now aware. And this is more for your protection and Sayyidina.
Yeah.
So one thing, like, so 3 things. You have, my suggestion is if you can take what Mary is suggesting, and that's a form. I don't think it will be appropriate to give it to the people that are working with you, but you can fill it yourself. And you can say that from my intimate knowledge or quite known this person for so many years, here is the answer, and it goes into file. Then when, God forbid, something happened, oh, Abuna did his, we call this due diligence.
But it's true. However, who's responsible? If something unintentionally happened, will be Abuna. You see, but when Abuna, for safety and protection and to cover yourself, I raised the youth. That youth or that teacher or volunteer is my son or my daughter, not biologically, but you know, I raised them, the children. I know everything about them and the whole thing. However, something can happen unintentionally in the class. Where were you? You see, where were you? Yeah, volunteer, your teacher. Oh, okay. Now, Abuna, did you know? Oh, I know him. He's very good. Yeah, oh, but such and such happened. Not from him, but from the children. And he observed this, or he didn't see this, but the bystander children know, and the teacher was there in the class. So who are they gonna believe? So we don't want anybody to be put into an awkward position. If the child is my son or daughter and they trust me and they love me as Abuna or their servant teacher, they will comply. Yes, Abuna, we have to follow the rules. They have to.
Do you have this kind of questionnaire, or that's left to the people who will train the volunteers?
I have those kind of questionnaires, but we can together put something to be used, to be the policy and the code of conduct and the screening questionnaires for the
we are in the process of putting a general policy for all the churches in Canada with the grace of God, headed by Sayyidina, and Sayyidina arranged that with the other bishops in the diocese, the other diocese, and the bishop who is responsible to watch over the headquarter of the patriarchate,
Yeah.
our church. So, but when it comes to training, I think it needs to be arranged by each church to train the volunteers and to make this certificate of completion to make sure that they are aware and they have no excusing and accountable at the same time.
That certificate, can I just add one more thing, Mary? The certificate of completion and also the monitoring.
Yes.
Because the monitoring is a follow-up on the certificate of completion, that you are actually monitoring that they are behaving or doing what they're supposed to do based on the training.
Yeah,
So
all this area. All this area. Oh, okay. Any other question? Should we move to the case number 3?
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Otsabuna. Okay. You are on a trip with a group of youth. Or I need somebody to read this, please.
You are in a trip with a group of youth.
Oh, thank you.
They love to have fun and joke around. One of the youth felt comfortable. He whispered, telling 2 of his friends a joke. Getting closer to him, you realize that it is a dirty and mocking joke about some other youth in the group. Discussions. How would you handle the situation? What preventive action you should be taking? May I add another question? What is the corrective action should I take?
Yeah, of course.
So,
okay, we have 3 to 4 minutes.
And I have a question pertaining this case study. So the only person who heard this dirty joke is the friend whom I talked to, just one person. So the other people did not anything about this joke, right?
No, they didn't. But they were joking and mocking somebody else other than them.
In the group. In the group.
In the whole group, yes.
Also, we should ask a question here, Mary. Was it the first time they had this type of conversation? Is it the first case that this youth they have such a conversation, or was it first time for them?
Yes,
because our action will depend according to this. If I raised a comment before about such a conversation,
yes,
between them, and they still doing this, so for sure there will be. If it's the first time, the action would be different.
It would be different. I don't want to say nothing, but I need to remember here, Otsabuna, the 4 steps. Listening, supporting, reporting, and investigating.
Even though if it's the first time?
No, sorry?
Even though if it's for the first time?
Oh, yes. The investigating, that answered the question, I need to know if it's the first or has been happening before, or what's going on. Yeah, investigating as a whole.
No, but I meant the point that if it's with me as an experience with them, I have an experience with those two youth before, and they repeated it again. And I know an experience with them that they have such a conversation before, and they're repeating twice, 3 times, 4 times, and they are still repeating this after, even though the actions we took in the first time.
Okay,
what we should do?
Okay, what do you think should do?
Well,
نمسكهم نضربهم بقى.
I think the situation, I wasn't meant to hear that situation. It's one person talking to his 2 friends. I was just getting closer to them and I overheard them. That's what I understood from that case. I wasn't supposed to hear this. Right?
Okay. So what about if it's a teacher or something like that that handles such a situation, and he passed through this experience with such 2 youth before? Yes, maybe it's not the case. Maybe it's not the case. Okay.
But it's good to know more. أبونا لويس كان أنت عاوز تقول حاجة.
لا أنا أقصد يعني it depends مين اللي سمع يعني if from the process or procedure there is reporting. طب if me as a priest I heard that, to whom I'm going to report? يعني if Sunday school servant heard that or another friend heard that, so this friend will report to the Sunday school. But what about me in my office like a priest?
Yes.
What should I do?
Yeah, that's a very important point, Otsabuna.
دي نقطة مهمة جدا إن برضو as a priest I'm not a manager only, I'm a priest, I'm a father. So this should be put, and by the way, in the policy of the committee with Sayyidina, I mentioned that many times because there are very fine line and it needs discernment, like exactly what Abuna Yohanna said. Is it the first time for this child or this youth to do that, or he is well known of his way or not appropriate way of doing that? So it needs discernment because every single case, sometimes I need to, I cannot put the cases in one mold or in one figure or in one case, because definitely if they are sitting together and joking together, and even the person whom they joked about, he will take it and joke with them, or maybe he will respond back again. So the area is very complicated and needs, I think, discernment.
Okay.
I agree with you, Abuna, if you allowed me to say that this should be set in the rule of responsibilities in the policy. Rule of responsibilities, the Sunday school teacher and the Sunday school leader, and then the son, and then Abuna, and then the bishop. Each one of them. Sorry?
Stages, stages
بالضبط. This is true. Every one of them has his own responsibility and take stages by reporting. This is what I believe so. So it needs to be like, I think it needs to be like that, and to be generalized and customized as well. Some to be customized and some be to generalized. We cannot customize, we cannot generalize all, but we cannot customize everything, but we can say in such cases, and this by experience, we upgrade this policy according to the actions that you are going to face. So are going to make revision 0, revision 1, revision 2 of this policy. It's a procedure, it's a guideline. It needs to state a lot of things in this, and the rules and responsibilities and action plan. You need to make an action plan that was a smart process, specific, measurable, realistic, time-bounded.
Yes, exactly.
We need to make all of this in such a procedure. We to make it clear to all the dioceses.
Yeah, and to be able to handle those jokes, or funny jokes, or dirty jokes, those children or those youth are on a trip. And TRIP has its policies. So that needs, as we said before, need to be signed and agreed with the youth about what's appropriate and not appropriate with the youth and the parents. So there is no tolerance for any type of misconduct. So they need, however, although that wasn't touching body or pushing or sexual touching, but it was inappropriate behavior. So those youth need to know that there has to be an incident case open for this. So if Otsabuna's leader needs to have this, and the case is with us. As a supervisor, I need to let them know this is such and such happened, let them sign, and this case will go to Abuna, period. They need to know from the get-go, from the first moment when I hear this.
But what about if Abuna is usually, what Abuna is, as Abuna Ruiz said, that he is a father, and the actions need to be very, very cautious with the youth in the church, because there are parents and there are relations and there are confession.
Parents need to learn that there are regulations and rules and respect. And that needs to happen through the training and awareness for parents and information for parents. This is very important. There's no tolerance for this misbehavior.
I know, but my question to Abuna now, and you, Tante Mary, as well, is what about this relation to the confession? What about the relation between confession and reporting?
Yeah, but again, as Abuna would say, we didn't harm the youth at all. The incident هنا موجودة. And then I direct and redirect and instruct the youth and talk with them that this is inappropriate. Now this happens because of the regulation, but I know and I trust that you will regret, you will confess, you will do, and so on. So I have a role and how to say it and how to communicate it with the youth in the confession.
One more question. What is the definition of youth? Are they underage or legal age?
We're talking here about the 18 and younger, but ممكن قوي اللي هم بتوع الجامعة. So the university, this is for sure we have to be really extra serious with them.
Okay.
Yeah. They need to know that things are serious. It's not like.
لا بس لو حصل مثلا abuse لحد في الجامعة، هل هنعتبره زي الابيوز لحد under age؟
Abuse together with each other.
يعني حد من كبير السن ل graduate في الجامعة above 18، يعني مثلا واحد حاجة و50 أو حاجة و60 أو حاجة و40 مع واحد 20 و19.
Unless he is a senior or he is يعني.
انتظر.
It's called sexual abuse.
برضه still sexual abuse.
Or rape, but not child. Child اللي هم 18 and under.
هل هيكون في procedure مختلف للchild abuse يا طنط ميري؟
Of course. ما عشان كده
procedure تاني.
Yes. عشان كده it starts from 5 years up to lifetime. Yeah, ده بيخش بقى it goes into violence rape and on and on and on.
لا بس أنا سؤالي، يعني أنا دلوقتي لو حصل abuse من حد مثلا عمره 40 سنة لحد عمره 15، هل تفرق من واحد عمل abuse من واحد عنده 40 سنة لواحد 19؟
I see. 19 is considered still an expert بس من law.
يعني 20 21 يعني.
20 21 they are adult. She consented. She wanted or he wanted. However,
يعني ما يعتبرش abuse ساعتها.
But it's called abuse if she charged him, if she reports him.
If there is consent, خلاص.
But if there is consent.
What is the type of consent, verbal or written?
لا
Oh, she consented, she agreed.
It's okay يعني إن هو يعمل كده.
Yeah.
Okay. What if she agreed and she changed her mind or she
we have lots of cases, and we have lots of cases when she didn't like it, she reported him.
Okay.
Yes, I have cases, and I attend that.
All these cases should be included in such a procedure. How we are going to deal with it?
Yeah. هم اتنين adult بس جاي مبهدلة. Yes. Yeah, it's true. Those are very good cases.
Yes. So we need to state all this type of questions and all this type of cases in such a huge procedure. It's a crucial procedure to be in place and a guideline. We need to have all these questions and a reply to this question and an action plan of each one. It's not an easy task.
It's true, Abuna Yohanna. If we are talking about child sexual abuse, it's a completely different chunk of the abuse. Yeah, because
what if happen adult abuse in the church? What you're going to do?
Or elder abuse? Yeah.
Yes.
Violence or elder abuse. That's a huge topic. It's a huge issue. It's a huge issue.
Should it be included in such a policy? أبونا مش عارف. I don't know.
هنشوف أبونا أنا مش عارف لسه البوليسي.
It's up to you. Yeah. If we
so
talk about,
is it only about sexual abuse or about child sexual abuse?
Yeah, but see, family violence is a different issue. Family violence includes.
But I'm not talking here about violence. I'm talking about abuse, sexual abuse. Only
true.
Sexual abuse.
Sorry, Otsabuna. Family violence includes all type of abuse.
I see. Okay.
Physical, emotional, neglect, sexual, everything. And,
I see.
And all ages. That's a huge issue, different topic. Yeah.
I see. So I think it should be clear, and we should state a clear policy about this. Policy means a statement first place.
Yeah, it's true.
And after the statement, we should go for the process in itself, the planning and the preparation. And
yes.
Action plans.
Valid
and
point.
all this.
Yeah. So what I need to do with those youths is to go and redirect them and instruct them, but also let them know that I filed an incident case, not report. Okay, how about next case, please? I don't want to keep you long, but we're about to finish here. So as a teacher, you are rushing in the hallway. This can happen anytime to get your son to your Sunday school class on time. You bumped into a teen girl's chest. Surprised teen felt shaky, did not expect that from you. So she cries, confused. How can you handle this? What would you do? What would you tell the youth and the parents? 2 minutes, because we don't have time, sorry.
نوسع الهول شوي.
ممكن.
That's a good point, Sabuna.
أو نعمل هول واي للبنات وهول واي للولاد.
رايح
وهول واي لأبونا مخصوص يعني.
That's a very good point. في هول واي رايح وجاي.
للرايح واللي جاي نعمل 2 ways. كده ممكن. For sure, number one, I should say sorry. يعني I should say sorry.
Okay.
If something happened like this, I am so sorry about this, and I should stop and give full attention to this.
Okay.
Not to make it just it's يعني هو مثلا يعني سامحوني في الكلمة يعني واخد الموضوع كده ببساطة. No, I should stop and say I'm so sorry. Are you okay? Is it okay?
Okay.
Please forgive me.
Okay.
All the time in the church, we should have this word in our tongue. Forgive me.
Okay, what else?
What else?
Yeah.
Should explain it's an accident, and I didn't mean to bump an air that way. I should explain the situation as it is.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And what else that is important before it gets aggravated that I need to do?
Report it.
No, don't make a big deal out of this. Yeah, and this is when we don't make that big deal ولا report ولا incident ولا حاجة. I need to handle it, say, apologize, and not to keep on insisting and keep on apologizing and give her the wrong impression again. See, you
But
apologize
here,
and it was an accident. I'm sure I'm gonna tell your parents what happened.
but here we have another problem, Tante Mary. Here we should also differentiate in the policy that we are going to issue about someone who's having a psychological problem previously, and he will escalate the actions, not necessarily actions. If something happened like this one, it's not a situation, but let's differentiate between someone here being subject to this situation while he's having psychological problems. He's having illusion, and he is imagining something, and other one or other lady, she is normal. So when Abuna will say, or the Sunday school teacher will say, I'm sorry, okay, no problem, nothing happened.
Yeah.
And the other one, if has a psychological problem and we don't know about it, and say, what you are doing? What did you do? This is a big mistake, and it's nothing. And it will be escalated. Should we differentiate between such situations?
Yes, and that's why I have, and that's why I have to go and tell the parents what happened exactly. And then I will know from the parents if there is issues with the use or not, and they need to take care of their use. Yeah.
Okay. Forgive me, Tante, but I think it should be reported too. I'm the one that did the action. I should go and report it myself to protect myself and declare that it wasn't an intended thing. It was an accident. Not all reports are held against the person. It will be safer for the church and for the servant to go and report themselves, even if nothing happened.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Yeah.
Okay.
This is what happened in
so it's not an escalation. Actually, telling the parents would be an escalation. But reporting
also,
myself
to
the
church is not.
But the parents need to know. Okay, here are some challenges that can hinder any prevention and any steps that we try to do to protect the children and how to overcome them. One of those challenges is a denial, that the belief that child sexual abuse had never and will never happen in our church organization. And believe that the offenders can be, and we know them, they cannot be nice people and so on. That's really a challenge. Now, how can we overcome this challenge? The belief that it will never happen in our church. Use statistics to justify that. Use current events. This is exactly what we did with CSAT, Christian Sexual Education, to show the children that what we're talking about is true and things are happening from live cases. Yeah, this is about denial. This is one of the challenges. The other challenge is the attitude about sexuality. Cultural reluctance to talk about that. Shaib, that's not appropriate to talk about such a thing. It's not our role, or our place, nor our business to deal with that. Whose business is it? Whose business? If it's not our business, who else's business and responsibility to take care of our children? So to overcome this, it's very important to understand that it's a general challenge in any culture, but make sure to discuss regularly and have the training regularly and practice the open communication about it and talk about it and educate the parent, caregiver, service providers all the time, frequently, until the mentality get the idea and to have some understanding and some awareness about the issue. Structural issues is another challenge. Limited and inadequate resources. Oh, I don't have people. I don't have, I'm not expert. I don't have an expert person or somebody that has the expertise. I don't have money. I don't have time. But we can challenge that to overcome this. Leadership to emphasize the dedication to the prevention. very important to encourage the people in the organization that their dedication to prevent this from happening is huge. Frequent and ongoing training cannot be overemphasized. Designate point of contact for child sexual abuse prevention, like some expert people, some trainers, some training, some qualified people, some, like I said, expert people to supervise and to monitor. Designate people at different level. Again, that means there is immediate contact with the youth, some other people to monitor those teachers that are in frontline immediate contact, and the other supervisors to have like steps and ranks. Seek outside funding also and other venues. These are very poor, inexcusable reasons. If God forbid anything happen, those challenges, if we make them like excuses, they are not excusable at all. Nobody will hear this, oh, I didn't know and we don't deal with this. Oh, okay, then you're off the hook. No, you're not. So we need to keep that in mind. So now, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Very important to have a plan of action to discuss and implement steps of prevention and towards our protection. Very, very important. So let me summarize what we talked about today. Take personal risk, very important to keep in mind, to take that I am responsible. Take personal responsibility to protect the children, ourselves and the church. Screening of all service providers is crucial, is critical, is important. Promote and implement education and training. Education promotes understanding and prevention. Create a process for developing the child sexual abuse prevention, and that will happen with the whole organization to provide and develop something, some kind of policy. And remember to listen, support, report, and investigate. So be aware of the challenges and continue to be positive. Thank you. Is there any question?
I did not receive any questions from anybody, so.
Yeah, actually, the topic is very inspiring and it's full of knowledge, and definitely I, and maybe all of you, admit that it's a new area for us that we face in the church, in an organization like the church, although it was existing, but maybe because it is something new happened in our church, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. لكن we thank the Lord, يعني all things work together for good for those who love God. كل الأشياء تعمل معا للخير. يعني what happened in the church, it opens our eyes about this area that should be taken seriously, and we need طبعا to do it as soon as possible and start to train the volunteers, servants, priests, deacons, everyone.
And parents, يا أبونا برضه.
ما طبعا parents. Above all, parents.
It's all starts with parents, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Prayers. ربنا يحافظ سويسرا.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mary. يعني احنا بجد we got استفدنا خالص من الموضوع ده. Case study is very important, that it challenges and we start to think about more case study, and because definitely we are going to be exposed, يعني God forbid, لكن definitely if we are well trained, supported with the grace of Christ, things will be better in how to solve these problems.
Sure. Thank you, Sabuna.
Thank you so much, Tante Mary.
Thank you, Sabuna. Yeah.
طب اتفضلوا نصلي. بسم الآب والروح القدس. نشكرك اللهم الصالح على كل حال ومن أجل كل حال وفي كل حال. عوض يا رب كل من له تعب في هذه الخدمة عوضا أجرا سمائيا، وأعطيهم يا رب الباقيات والفانيات. بارك على كل الحاضرين. نجينا يا رب من كل شر، من كل خطية، من كل يمين كاذب. نجينا يا رب من حروب عدو الخير. نجينا يا رب ونجي أولادنا وبناتنا وشبابنا وشاباتنا وبيوتنا يا رب من كل شر. احفظهم يا إلهنا الصالح في يمينك الحصينة، سالكين في وصاياك يا رب حتى النفس الأخير، متهللين بحضورك يا رب في وسطنا، فرحين يا رب في الرجاء وصابرين في الضيق. تسندنا يا رب وتسند كل الكهنة وتسند كل الذين في الخدمة، وتحفظنا يا رب من ضربات عدو الخير اليمينية واليسارية، لأننا لا نعرف آخر سواك. اسمك القدوس هو الذي نقول. سؤالات أمنا الطاهرة البتول مجد مريم، جميع صفوف الشهداء والأبرار والصديقين والسواح، اسمعنا حينما ندعوك قديم بالشكر أبانا الذي في السماوات. محبة الله الآب ضابط الكل، نعمة الابن الوحيد ربنا وإلهنا ومخلصنا يسوع المسيح، شركة وموهبة وعطية الروح القدس تكون مع جميعكم. امضوا بالسلام، سلام الرب يكون معكم. متشكرين، ربنا يعوضكم.
مع روحك أيضا يا أبي.
Thank you,
Thank you
Sabuna.
so much, Sabuna.
Thank you,
Thank you so much. Thank you so
شكرا يا
much.
طنط ماري، جميلة.
Thank you, Sabuna. صلواتكم. Thank you.
صلاة من القديسين. شكرا يا دكتور سامي، ربنا
يا
يعوضك.
حبيبي ربنا معاكم، ربنا معاكم.
صلواتك
يا
ربنا يفرح قلبكم ويستر عليكم.
احنا نشكر ابونا لويس برضه ان هو اللي initiate the whole thing. يعني that is very important.
هو اللي initiate بصراحة. هو اللي initiate.
طب كويس.
ماشي. Uncle Sammy, can you share the recording please if possible? أو ممكن نحطه على الشير ويب سايت if Sabuna agree. I don't know.
حاضر.
ما احنا
Thank you دكتور سامي.
يتسجل على يبقى برضه available لناس كتير.
طيب ماشي.
ربنا يعوضك.
Thank you so much. سلام.
سلام ونعم.
Thank you.